right, shalom, shalom, shalom. It's your brother Abadi out here with the brothers. And we're here to preach the Bible about what's going on in the world according to prophecy. And we're going to correlate that with the prophecy in the news today. But we're going to give all honor and praises to Yahawah, by Hashem, Yahweh, by Hashem, QADASH. Double honors to the elders at Great Millstone, who well taught this truth. Taking honors to the elect. Send blessed to the 130 and to the Ephesian faces the four corners of the earth. Shalom. War, tariffs, and prophecy also stand your ground. There's a lot of judgment going out. The brother was talking about it today. We want to go into the judgment also about what happened in the Dominican Republic. We're going to cover all topics, but once again, it lets you know that the scripture says that the days are being short for the elect's sake. So when you see so much happening, and like the activity, the frequency of like the judgment is going out at such a rapid rate, you got to understand that this is really the Lord accelerating His kingdom to come. That's really what this is all about. At the end of the day, the Lord's gonna reign on the earth with His kingdom and righteousness. Before the Lord do that, He's gonna take the crowns of all the kings, but all things must be fulfilled, and that's what you see happening right now. You got it.
It says more than 200 now dead after the Dominican Republican nightclub disaster as search for survivors ends. Hopes are fading for the remaining people trapped under a roof of a nightclub collapsed in the Dominican Republic. 200 people, man. They in there, celebrities too, a lot of famous baseball players and singers. Okay, so I'm gonna get into a precept. I got
Let's have it too. Let's have it too, because once again, remember what the scripture says? It says folly excelling great dignity. So people went to the club for folly, and guess what? The Lord also killed all those people. Yep.
so this is 2 Ezra 5:1. Nevertheless, as coming the token, behold, the days shall come that they shall which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in great numbers.
Say it again.
Nevertheless, 2 Ezra 5:1. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in great numbers, and the ways of the truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith.
Hey, the land shall be barren of faith. That's beautiful. They said the truth hidden. The reason why the truth been hidden, why? Because they have put so many lies out there. And then also, in addition, the Lord also has blinded those that don't believe too. But barren of faith meaning what? Every which way you look, what do we see? We see death, destruction, we see judgment, we see division. Yeah, the Lord visiting the earth, we see war, right? So everywhere you look, all you see is judgment. So people are bearing the faith because like they don't even have faith in people anymore. Like I was in the gym yesterday, right? And there's this older Edomite lady. I'm sorry, let me not say it because she has red hair and she very polite. And she walked and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing all right. How are you?" She said, "Thank you for asking. Most people don't even talk and have a conversation." And I told her, I said, "I actually remember you." I said, "You're a regular here." I said, "I haven't been here for almost a year or some change, but I remember your face." We just started talking, and she was just excited to have a regular conversation because she said most people today, they're always sad or sulky, but this lady is always jovial and happy. But she could just see the damping on the people. Then, as I'm walking from the bus stop to walk home, this older not the older, this young looking Edomite, kind of about 6'2", kind of about about 180. Had a hat on and everything. He was good little shape. His truck was in the side of the road. It was a long bed truck, full cab, long bed, and it had a grill in the back. And I just stopped and said, "Hey, y'all need help, man. I'm right here. I'm all we just talking and everything." And then next thing you know, he was like, "Hey, man, I appreciate you stopping, brother. I really appreciate that, man." Because the dude when they got the hooks and he ended up pulling it out with his RT. He had a Durango RT. And I was like, "Hey, man," I said, in the society that we live in today, we have to try to at least show that there's some kind of law, like it ain't over yet. Because remember this, we're supposed to be the Lord's people, right? That doesn't mean we're supposed to be walking around being evil towards everybody, being wicked towards everybody. No, because it's not really in our nation, right? Because even Paul said, "If it all possible, be at peace with all men." But we still gonna let your hands little. We're gonna bring this stuff death and destruction. But the reason why I brought all that out because it goes back to the last part where it says the land shall be barren of faith. A lot of people losing faith in America, man. A lot of people losing faith in their stocks. A lot of people losing faith in their jobs, you know, because everybody what they do nowadays, they throw money at everything. They throw money, they throw status. But now your money doesn't matter. Now your status doesn't matter. Because remember, people always thought they had a secure job with the federal government. That goes to show you that they throw that out the window, right? So with all these tariffs coming up, these companies, they don't care about paying the taxes on the tariffs. They're just gonna make you pay with the retail prices, but they're not increasing your wages at your job. So the cost of living is going up, but you still got to spend more money just for the same items you bought a week ago. And it's systematic because it goes back to a new world order. The dollar's already worth what? Nothing. So they want to get rid of the dollar to bring in this new digital currency. And when they do that, they can also dictate and they can also manipulate your funds and your money. All of this is a play, right? But like the brother had brought out in the club in the club in the Dominican Republic when the roof fell on over 20 people died. I mean, do you not know? Like we're talking about, bro, it's like tons of weight. You're standing erect, and all of a sudden, the entire roof fall on you. I mean, you're talking about absolute. You're being crushed to death.
You finna say y'all got two birds in one stone with 200.
Two, right? You're gonna say you knock out two birds with one stone. You should got 200 birds with one stone, right? I like David and Goliath with the rock, man. Yep, that was judgment. No, your brother, you fine, brother. We're recording ourselves. Enjoy your day, sir. Yep. So, yeah, so it's just like with King David, man, with the rock. That's heavy, man. Yeah, like you said, the Lord taking people in the scores, right? And remember, it said this world is made for many, but the world to come for few. And that's not few and far in between. If you look at the rate in the world that we live in, like the scripture says, when the Son of Man come, shall he find shall he find faith on earth? And what the scripture said, the land shall be barren, but not by all. Because the Lord's going to always have a remnant. So let's get back to it. You got some more on that?
So, I'm saying verse 2. Second of the Father too, but iniquity shall be shall increase above that which now thou seest or thou hast heard, thou regard. That's the thing. When our people see what's going on, iniquity still can proceed. Matter of fact, it increase. You know what I'm saying? You still parlay, you know what I'm saying? Do what they're doing. Expect holidays, birthdays. They're still looking for what Babylon has to offer when these things are happening. That's because there's no judgment. It's not near you. There's no judgment near you. You will continue, but the Lord said, long suffering, man. I know what's something
That's
happening.
good. That's good.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That's how people think, man. It ain't gotta be. The Lord said in the world, okay?
Shalom, shalom, Akwathia. YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. That's Brakatah, sister. Go ahead, I'll say it again.
It's in the world, not near you. You know, he don't pick specific places, man. This judgment, it ain't gotta be judgment near you in the world, mate. You have to be victorious, man. Instead of being a victim, man. You have to be grateful you wake up and be victorious. Okay?
Oh, shalom, shalom, monkey. YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. That's Brakatah. And like you said, man, you have to be victorious. Because another way of being victorious is being what? That you overcome death. Because what separates us from the Most High? That we rejected the fountain of what? The fountain of life, which is what? The scriptures. Right? And that would let us where we are right now. So seeing what's going on in the world, Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. Yahawah is his name. Can you give me James 5:1-7? The Lord is a man of war. Yahawah is his name.
You said James what?
James 5:1. Just hold on that. Right. So now, so what I want you to do, understand that when you're dealing with terrorists, right? Terrorists are also acts of war. All right. You don't always have to have bloodshed because what it does, it affects the commoners, the serfs, us. We're at the bottom of the pyramid. You know, if you look at the pyramid, the base of the pyramid is very wide and very broad, but it gets smaller and smaller when you get to the top. We're at the base of the pyramid, right? We're pretty much upholding the elite, the upper echelon. Who it's like we're 2% of the world population controls like 90% of its wealth. All right, so understand that. So going into the terrorists, right? So Trump beefing with the world pretty much right now. That's pretty much what's going on. United States of America's Babylon the Great. So this is from Newsbreak, Business Insider. China just poured more fuel on the trade war the trade war fire and call the U.S. a joke. Let that sink in. Call U.S. a joke. Matter of fact, can you drop that? Can you give me Jeremiah? I think it's Jeremiah 51 and 22. I'm thinking where it says, "How was the whole hammer of the earth broke asunder?" Right on Friday, China hit the U.S. with a 125% tariff on imports. China accused the U.S. of bullying. It said it risks becoming a quote joke unquote on the world stage. All right, so this is what China's saying right now to America. I don't like this new format because they don't allow you to see everybody's anyhow. Go ahead, hit the one and put it on there real quick. 50-20, hold on there real quick. So China hit back at the U.S. on Friday with the 125% tariff on imports. Now there's escalation in the trade war between the two superpowers sparked by President Donald Trump's trade levies. Okay, I'm gonna get straight to the point. I'm not saying read all this stuff. I don't know what I want to bring out. It says even if the U.S. continues to impose higher tariffs, it will no longer make economic sense. It will become a joke in the history of the world economy, and added. So we're looking at you like you a damn fool right now. All right? Shalom, shalom, GMS strive for the masteries. YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, QADASH, to you. Shalom, shalom. Right? You got the water right there. How's the whole hammer of the earth? That's what I wanted out the water. The water. Okay? It says if the U.S. continues to play the tariff numbers game, China will ignore it, the statement said. It said previously, China said the tariff rate on U.S. imports will be 84% and level imposed on Wednesday. You can read it from me out.
This is Jeremiah 50 and 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
Now, America's being broken up right now because looking at it militarily, spread out too thin. And they can't defend itself against the ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, which is a missile that can be shot from one continent to another. All right? Shot from one continent to another. And America's always used the military to infiltrate and to bully all these other smaller countries. They never really put a lot of money into their defense, right? So going into the scriptures, you give me Jeremiah again. No, not Jeremiah. I'm sorry, James 1. James 5:1. Yeah, James 5:1. And the reason I bring this out because you got to remember, it's not like by accident why this is happening. Remember, America was built off of what? Rape, robbery, murder. It was built off of blood. And the scripture says, shed not the blood because blood defileth the land therein, right? But the land cannot be cleansed except by the blood of him that shed it. That's what it said. So now understanding that they're taking the bloodline which is what? The economy, your money. As a matter of fact, yeah, read that 5:1, and I'm going to read Habakkuk.
This is James 5 and 1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you.
I said, how you rich man? Weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. Right? And that's why you see these billionaires, right? That's why they're building these underground bunkers, man. And the money that you have, Esau, that money is cankered because that's blood money. And that's what you don't understand. The money you have is filtered through your own money. You know how the words you say, they had the old face hundreds, right? That's drug money from back in the 90s and 80s. Y'all got money, man, that date back to families. Like the reason why we got last names because we were your property at one point. It's like when a father gives his daughter off in marriage, she takes on whose last name now? The husband, because she becomes what? His property. So he has to take care of her. Only difference is that y'all mistreated us as being your property. Because the word employee today still means the same thing as a slave in the Black Law Dictionary. It mean even King Solomon had what you would call slaves, but when the Queen of Sheba walked up to the door, she thought the doorkeeper was King Solomon. So what the hell you think King Solomon looked like? I speak as a man when I say that. She thought the doorkeeper was King Solomon. So imagine how they look just standing there as a doorkeeper. Only thing King David even said he was going to be a doorkeeper in the kingdom. But y'all mistreated mistreated us, man. That's the difference. So anyhow, let me get back to it. I want to show also that this money is canker. Read it again, Bible.
James 5:1. Well, to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you.
Weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. Why? So chapter 5, verse 8. Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity. America was unjustly gotten. For one, when you got here, who helped you till the ground? Who helped you how to wipe the ass? Who helped you how to eat with the eating utensils and everything, how to survive in the cold, harsh winters? God did. God did. And then you made over 137 peace treaties with them and stabbed them in the back. And then you forced our people to have a pagan holiday called Thanksgiving, worshiping the slaughter of our brothers and sisters who you actually murdered. So it wasn't called Thanksgiving, it was Thanksgiving. That's really what it is. Thanks for allowing us to steal this from you, right? So America is a country made off of blood that's been illegally gotten, unjustly gotten. And now you say the indigenous people of this land are now called illegal aliens. You're putting them in cages, right? You forcing them out of this country, which is their land. And the Lord said, "Present of the man, or present of the man in his heritage." And you also remove the landmarks by putting your faces on Mount Rushmore, which is a sacred mountain. It's another reason why you gotta like to pay for it, right? Go ahead,
It's Luke 4:31. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall.
Miserable are they that afflicted us and rejoice at our fall. And I go back to Obadiah. I had brought that out too in one of my videos I had did. It said that the Lord was saying, "Woe to you, because you pretty much rejoice at our downfall when our calamity had came to an end." And that's talking about we was over there in West Africa. It said we were strangers. We were strangers in a foreign land. Strangers in what? The land of Ham. And you and Ham came and got us. That's why I always use the same reference to roots. Because in roots you'll see Caucasian folks and you see some dark skinned folks grabbing up a whole other tribe of dark skinned folks. There'll be the Mendigos who are being captured and brought over here on cargo slave ship. It's Hebrew Israelites. The other dark skinned tribe with Esau, that will be the Hamites. We're not African. We're not out there putting our heads in cows' asses and stuff like that. All right, we're not hunting lions. We don't do that. All right, we don't eat bush meat. We're two different people.
The
You're,
blood of the blood
yeah, all that. We don't do that. That's not us.
rather than precept.
Go ahead, brother.
Baruch 4:32. Miserable are the cities which thy children shall serve. Miserable is the that receive thy sons. Okay, that's talking about slavery, right? Those who name the city after themselves, like this place is gonna go on forever, man.
America, Babylon the Great. The mystery who are Babylon. It's a city. America is a big city. Think about it. America is a big city because it has states. States are also known as provinces, going back to Rome, which was a tri-city state. Hence, they had a republic. Like you have D.C., the District of Columbia. D.C. is not a part of the United States of America. It's its own district. Kind of like the Vatican in Rome. The Vatican is its own district, right? So America is one big unwalled city. Like it says in, I think it's in Ezekiel. If one of y'all brothers can put it in, Bible Kashaf, it speaks about the unwalled city. That's America. That's beautiful you mentioned that because earlier what I said America's wide open because America does not have any defense against an intercontinental ballistic missile. America's wide open, right? And just like Rome, they spread their military too thin. They everywhere. So and you can't hell defending home. You got domestic violence here at our home base. You got your own soldiers, your own politicians beefing with each other. They can't even agree on one thing, right? That was beautiful. Read it again, my friend.
32, 31, 32. Baruch 4:31. Miserable are they that afflict thee, and rejoice at thy fall. Miserable, verse 32. Miserable are the cities which thy children serve. Miserable is Miserable is she that received thy
It
sons.
says, miserable are she that received our sons. Babylon received them. We had to serve Babylon. Didn't I say we had to serve Pharaoh, right? We built the treasure cities in Pithom and Ramses, right? Same thing here. We had to serve our enemies. Matter of fact, Deuteronomy 28. The Lord said, you shall serve thy enemies in a land not known to thy fathers. That's here. We serve thy enemies in a land that was foreign to us, right? Even though Northern Kingdom been here for centuries, this is not our land because our land is Israel, right? That was beautiful, huh? So that's why I had brought up about the old rich man money being hankered. Matter of fact, let's get back to it. James 5:1. So you use it when you use that, you really gotta understand why their money is gonna be, why their money is gonna be altered, and why it's not gonna save them, why it's really a curse to them. Because their money was unjustly gotten. I read it again. So Rock 5:8. Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity. And let's not get it twisted. Just because we were sold to the other nations, and Esau was the one that did all the hard labor, that does not mean them other nations are going to be exempt. Matter of fact, I got to find that. Yeah, if you don't mind, it says, what nation have not had a hand in our captivity. Yeah, I know it's in Maccabees real quick. I did it, so, I can't find it at this moment. But anyhow, go ahead and read James 5.
James 5:1 again. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Verse 2.
So, take your time, take your time, take your time, take your time.
Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are mothly.
Right, your garments are one thing. I found it. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All your nations were involved, right? So none of your nations are going to be exempt. America's also going to be, you're going to be judged with America's was what I meant to say, because their money that they made was through what selling us. Like I always say, we were the first stock on the New York Stock Exchange. They exchanged us for money and goods and all of that. So the whole world, what the IMF, the International Monetary Funding, the whole system was what funded really from slavery. Remember, if you go into the history where they say 80% of the world was supplied with cotton at that time. So you other nations, you still had your hand in it. I mean, it's called supply and demand. So I just want to bring it up too. So not just America going to be destroyed. They're going to be judged too as well. Okay, I'm rooting for people though. I'm rooting for my the enemy of my enemy has not become my friend. Go ahead up.
Verse 3. James 5:3. Your gold and silver is cankered,
Canker.
and your works of them that shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire.
Woo, and the east of flesh as it was fire, even though that's parabolic, that's going to be literal too. Going back to what Zechariah 14, where it says, "That flesh shall consume away by the stand upon their feet, their eyes in their socket, their tongues in their mouths." And we always refer to back. We always refer back to Sarah Connor and Terminator 2 when she's at that fence, when she's holding the fence and them kids at the playground. Yeah, that right there was literally a prophecy that the Lord put inside the minds of the directors to put inside those movies, man. Okay.
To continue, you have happened treasure together. You have heaped treasure
You know
together.
what
So
I'm saying?
like
Okay, you know
you have heaped treasure together for the least days, for the last days.
You good, I'll take your time. You have heaped treasures together for the last days. Remember, in Haggai 2, it says the gold and the silver are mine. So when you looking at China collecting tons and tons of bullion, you got United States, you got France, you got Russia. All these countries are collecting all this bullion, collecting all this gold for who? For Yahawah. Because the Lord said it's his. Matter of fact, really quick, read that one more again, and then I'm gonna read this out.
Gold and so like this is James 5 and
Good
3.
job.
Your gold and silver is cankered, and your Worst of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it was fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days.
This is Haggai chapter 2, verse 8. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith Yahweh of hosts. Listen to this. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. So the gold and the silver is his. And let's be honest, what it says in the book of Revelation, it says the street shall be paid with gold. That's why y'all collecting the gold. We appreciate you, but we gonna need that back because we gonna need y'all to. It's beautiful. You know, oh man, yo, Cole Lane, how about some outside? You know when you really think about it, bro? Remember who was the hardcore bonus, right? You know if you go down Night Street, right? You know if you go down to all them plantation houses and all that, when people say they be spirits and all that, they be seeing dead people walking on that kind of stuff like that. If you go down there, they got something called Augusta bricks. You know what Augusta bricks are, right? Right, yeah, them bricks, right? Them Augusta bricks, those bricks was laid down by slaves. Slave owners. The Lord so cold. The Lord had it to. We had to lay down the dust, the bricks for their rules, right? The Lord had them lay down gold bullion for hours.
Hey, and hey, it shall be many mansions in our kingdom. Ain't no hell.
Nah, bro, no. It's not. Listen, when it says there's many messages out in the Lord's kingdom, they're talking about planets. They're talking about planets. And my father's, and my what it says in my father's house there are many mansions. That's talking about planets. But they're gonna build out. They're gonna build everything. Hey, the Lord said, "You shall." The Lord said, "You shall plant a vineyard and shall not drink of the wine. You shall build a house and not sleep in it." That's all. We did all that. Solomon Northup. Remember, he said, "Make sure they're flush." They are flush. That was us, you know. So now they're gonna build ours and they ain't gonna sleep in ours. They gonna plant our thing and they ain't gonna drink our wine, right? And we gonna take. We gonna have to take that. They gonna want our. They're gonna want us because women. Yeah, because women naturally go by hypergamy. Women follow whoever's in power. It's no different than the artists right now. No Bow Wow. Everybody was making fun of Bow Wow and they was clowning him. Now Bow Wow on tour. Everybody going crazy. All the women love Bow Wow. It's like people so fickle. That's what they call fanatics. They love you one moment, they hate you the next. Women the same way. They go with the trend. They go with what's hot, or they go with who's on top, right? But we gonna be on top forever. And not only that, our women gonna be on top forever. And they gonna be in order and everything. Man, our women gonna be so bad, like we ain't gonna even really want the other women, but just because of prophecy and just because the Lord gonna, all women gonna be beautiful, of course they're gonna be like, yeah. I'm gonna take your daughter. I remember what you did. I remember I was on your plantation. I remember that. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do that. But our women gonna be above all women on earth. Hell, I'm gonna go as far as to say that speak as a man, our women will be above the men of the other nations, but they must know their water as a woman on earth. You know what I'm saying? Like the royalty. Nonetheless, though, we're gonna be one of all nations in righteousness, right? So you go back to James.
To continue, James 5 and 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your
The
fields.
higher of the laborers, we're the laborers. See, this is why your money is a curse to you. Because we are the reason why you are rich. And all this money throughout all the world, there's no way all you need. That's why I say China could be the next powerhouse in this country. All y'all going down. Babylon go down, y'all going down. Remember it spoke about the merchant city. It said y'all howl at the merchant city when Babylon was burned down. Why? Because you say no one knows. You say no one buy your merchandise. Your whole structure's gonna go down, man. All right? Okay.
Which is over. You kept, I'm going to start over. James 5 and
Slack,
4
cut you
again.
off. I did cut you off.
Behold, the hire of your laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you that kept back your fraud.
You kept
Try
back.
it.
You kept back. Because you're supposed to pay a man. You're supposed to pay a man his daily wages. All right. That's why when you look at these tip services, they pay you the same day. You're supposed to pay a man his wages the same day. If I come and do a task for you on Monday morning, before I leave you, you're supposed to compensate me for my money. They make you wait 2 weeks out. did, we worked for you and you didn't pay us nothing. We didn't get no compensation. Right? Matter of fact, and read it again, dog.
James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your
I'm about to
fields.
get my sword faster.
Which of you that kept back your fraud crieth, and the cry of them which have reaped
I'm like Trumps. I'm like Trumps right now. So like that.
are entered into the ears of the Lord
I'm Sabaoth.
of Sabaoth.
That's the Lord of armies, if I'm not mistaken. The Lord of armies. All right. So oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. One more time, I'll read that just to keep them at bay over there.
5:4 again. What you say?
Yes, sir.
James 5:4 again. Behold, the hires of your laborers who have reaped down your fields.
Us, the so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, go ahead.
Come, which of you that kept back your fraud
You kept that with fraud because you did not pay us.
crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of the Sabaoth.
Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. Okay? Not the Lord of the Sabbath, Lord of Sabaoth. Okay?
James 5:5. You have lived pleasure of the earth, been one son. You have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter.
You have nourished your hearts. So, in other words, remember what it says there. I think it's wasn't Solomon 2 when it says, "Come and let us use the creature," like for their pleasure. That's what they did for. That's what they did to us.
I forgot what one time.
Wanting means wanting, like wanting. Like it's like a woman's walking with her husband. You walk by and she cut her eyes at you. Those are called wanton eyes. Yeah, you have a husband. Why you want? I mean, why you wondering? Why you wanting more? All right. Yeah. So remember, the higher of the labors you kept back by fraud. But it's the reason why that happened. This is Isaiah, where it says Isaiah 58, Isaiah 59 and 1. Behold, the Lord's hand is not short that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you, that he will not hear. And there was another one too where it says, say besides.
Yeah, going back to when he said, you have lived in pleasure of the earth and been one time. Man.
And he still want more. They never
Still
satisfied.
never satisfied.
Never satisfied.
Never satisfied. One thing to be never satisfied. Man. Okay. But now, okay, I did a video call. It's better to
When you find that, you can bring it up. All right, keep that thought. You said you're talking about one time, right? I'm sorry. What was it about? You can speak on it. You gotta go through it. You can speak on it. What I'm saying, what do you have to go to the video to remember what it was
yeah, I
about?
do, but I'm sorry. So,
No, you good. No, you good. No, but you said it was about one time, right?
yeah, it's about we living in pleasure instead of it's better living
You know what? That's beautiful. You said that. That's what I was thinking today. I was thinking that right now. Like, these people are living in pleasure. Remember Moses? He said he would rather suffer with his people than to live in pleasure for a season. So Moses said, "I'd rather suffer with Israel than to be a second in command under Pharaoh's daughter."
I live in the house of mourning and mirth, right?
Yep, that's. If you want to get the precept, you want to get the precept. It's in Ecclesiastic. Yeah, it's best to live in that house of mourning. I think it's in 9, if I'm not mistaken. Go to 9, go to 1. And you just start sliding like you know where you're going. You know where you're going? You know where you're going? I'm supposed to 7. 7 2.
And the one I was gonna get, in fact, that's the spirit. So I'm going to Ecclesiastes 7:2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living of well, and the living will lay it onto his heart.
So you allow you lay into your heart to stay to the house of mourning, man. Okay, go ahead.
This is what point. Sorrow is better than laughter. Okay, ain't saying go out and try to find a reason to go around being depressed.
Be a stoic, having a stoic mindset. That's a better way to say it too.
But by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made bitter. Okay, say laugh not, cry later. Okay, you want to cry, you want to cry now and laugh. But that's how this our judgment is set up for us to suffer now and reap the benefits that we're going to be aware of. Like I said, you get caught up. Once you get caught up parlaying and shit, dying parlaying. Like the nightclub thing, man. Okay, the house of mourning, man.
It was in the house of mirth.
So,
No. They was in the house of mirth. We are in the house of mourning. That's different. I'm with you. Right here, the next verse.
which Ecclesiastes 7:4. The heart of the wise is on
The heart of who though? All right, so a fool is in folly.
in the house of the mourning, but the heart of the fool is in the house of mirth.
Right, and they was in mirth. Them fools was in mirth in that club, and what happened? The Lord took it down. That's why the dark. Wow, can you please get me on? This is heavy. See, I begin somewhere. Spirit is heavy right now. On 12:4.
Ecclesiastes 12:4.
Lord shut clubs down too.
And the doors shall be shut in the streets, and the sound of the grinding is low.
So let's talk about work though. Go ahead.
He shall rise at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music
And then all the daughters of music
shall be brought low.
low. And what they have inside the club is music. All right. Raising the roof. So anyway, but going what it said, going back to being in sorrow, 7:2, real quick. It was 3, the one you have read, I think. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 7:3. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made bitter.
What do you mean by the silence of your countenance? If you look at those old Chinese movies, kung fu movies, those old seafoods, they seldomly smile. They always had a stern look on their face, and they never let up when it came to training. They were well disciplined. Now, if one of those old seafoods saw like a little infant baby or a child, they'll probably smile. But towards like an adult or towards like another man, one of their students, they were very stoic. All right, and that's what they really lacked today. Right, so like you can even see it in those old movies, man. Because we grew up on Wu-Tang and all that. We grew up on all the martial arts and stuff. It's not all this fun and all this bullshit you see today. So going to the word stoic, a person who can endure pain or hardship. Are you smiling while you in pain? No. For someone who's in sorrow, that's someone who's enduring pain, right? We're patiently. He was the patient in the faith of the saints. Being patient is suffering. Because patients get admitted to the hospital when you're what? Suffering. All right? That's why we're waiting for the physician. YAHAWASHI is the physician. A person who can endure pain or hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. Sorrowful. A member of the ancient philosophical school of Stoicism. So somebody who can endure without having to express their emotions and feelings. Right. Oh, that's beautiful. I was coming out the store about a week ago, and I was laughing and told to the dude that's behind the counter. And I walking out, Jake in the car, he had dreads. He was like, "Yo, man, I love to see a black man smile, man." He said that we barely even smile like that. I said, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Every day I'm crying on the inside, but I'm always laughing externally to let people know, man, it's gonna be all right one day. And then he came up to me, we just dapped it, we just kind of embraced each other. But that's the point, though. Like I have a stoic mindset, but I still every day I have a stoic mindset, but externally I still express happiness and joy. Why? Because we know something better is to come. See, their mind is stuck here. We know what's better to come. We believe in that. So yeah, I walk around, I smile and laugh and geeky high, but it's still a lot of bullshit going on, right? We're still under the guise of these devils, man. We're still under the tutelage of ESAU, right? So we go back to James 5. Oh yeah, Salakia. And I had found that precept too. Yeah, James 5. James 5. James 5. Like, you see how it's good for you were asked to speak on what you thought you had, and we spoke on it for about a good 5, 7, 8 minutes. Right? We went right to it. Yeah, spirit, that's it, man. That's it. How the spirit goes.
James 5 and 4.
And that's me being more patient, so I gotta be more patient, brother. So that's on me too.
This is James 5 and 4. Who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back your fraud, craft, and the cries of
Hold
them.
on, I think you might have robbed yourself. Behold. That's how you know I know the scriptures. And I'm like, hold on, you missing something.
James 5 and 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your field, which is of you kept back the fraud, cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of the Sabbath.
This is Isaiah 52 and 1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength on Zion, put on thy beautiful garments on Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Think about arising from dust. You would instead of confusion. If you're walking up, we got alleys where we're from. You walking up in the alley, all of a sudden this gust of wind just picks up and it does get in your eyes. You confused for a moment. You're dazed. That's what it means by come up out of the dust. And also you at a lower state if you're sitting in the dust. Okay? Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. Here comes the point. Going back to behold the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by fraud. This is what it means by that. Isaiah 52 and 3. For thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. So that's heavy. The Lord said we were sold for nothing. But you're going to be redeemed without money. How shall we be redeemed? By the blood of YAHAWASHI. Okay?
James 5 and 5. You have lived in pleasure on the earth and been one time.
You have lived in pleasure. They go to word again. You have lived in pleasures on the earth. And you have been one time. More and more. Okay?
You have nourished your hearts as in the day of the slaughter.
Right?
You have commanded and killed the just. You have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth the resist you.
That's us. Killed, you have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. A prime example, I just saw an article in Michigan. Two officers, well, maybe three of them, I don't know how many. They pulled a Jake off the bus saying he stole some items from Walmart. And he said, I got my receipt, I got my receipt. And they beating on him. Kind of find out they see the receipt. So they took him back to Walmart because people say he stole some. He showed his receipt. So then he got escorted to the hospital in the ambulance. And they tried to make him leave the hospital without getting treated. They wanted him to leave because if he never got treated, they would have never had a report. So he stayed there and got treated. Then they put him in jail for 3 weeks and let him out. Now he for the suit him. That's a prime example right there. Go back up. You read it again, Baba Kishar?
James 5 and 6. James 5 and 6. You have condemned and killed the just, and have doeth not resist you.
So they didn't kill him, but they condemned him. And he was justified. He got a receipt. Even Jake said it in the world. Oh, such said this. Well, tell him to show receipts. Have proof, you know? And that's what oh, that's beautiful. Can you please give me can you give me Ecclesiastes 7? If you want to, matter of fact, do you want to stay there or you want to read it? 7 and 11, 7 and 12. This is a perfect example on why money is a defense. Because if he didn't have money, he wouldn't have been able to purchase those items out in the store. But what was proof of his purchase? The receipt. Go ahead up.
This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 11. Which is good with an inheritance,
What?
which is good with
What?
wisdom, is good with inheritance, and there is a profit to them that see the sun.
Wisdom, Ecclesiastes 7 and 11. Wisdom is good. That's why I tell you to just take your time. Wisdom is good with an inheritance. Ecclesiastes 7 and 12. All right. It says, for wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of the knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. So once again, when they took him off the bus claiming he stole something, he said, I have a receipt. Well, the Lord said money a defense. So what was his defense? That receipt showed he had money to purchase those items. And wisdom is the defense. But what it says though, the excellency of knowledge is wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Money, that's beautiful. Proverbs. No, matter of fact, keep that. That was beautiful. Stay there. It just goes to show you that money profit not in the day arrive. That's what that meant. So you can go back real quick. It says, Ecclesiastes 7:12. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. So wisdom has more value than money, is what it says right there. Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivered from death. So, so when you think about it, remember what the scripture says? It says it's easier to put a camel through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter to the kingdom of heaven. So where your heart is, you know, where your heart is, that's pretty much where your mind is. Your heart, your mind center. You know what I mean? And that's where you occupy your time at. So your time is in money. Your time is gonna be what in this world. Our time is in the heaven. Our time is what trying to get out of this world. And what the Lord said, "Come out of here, my people. Be not partakers of your sins." You know. You can go back. Not James. Matter of fact, can you get me
No, oh, no, I got you. I had that. No, we way past it. We way past it. I was gonna bring out that Matthew 24:6, but we talked about war.
Iran signals openness to nuclear talks with U.S. All right. Now remember, Obama had did a deal with Iran. It was cool. Trump came in, kicked it, ripped it up, spit at it, pissed on it, lit it on fire. Now, Biden came in after him. Now Trump trying to say, okay, now let's come at you the drawing board. See, Trump is an actor, y'all. But these other dictators, they ain't fucking acting with you. This is not The Apprentice. He ain't finna be firing these people. See, remember, he's a personality. So he really putting on his face for y'all. And everybody eating it up. A lot of this stuff is shock value. Okay? Hold on. I don't even know if anybody else had posted anything because this. Okay. Did it? Okay, we good. Let's make sure anybody posted anything. Go ahead.
This is Matthew 24:6. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
And I'm glad you brought that out too, because a brother had uploaded a video saying, we're not going to World War III yet because, um, look, United States and Iran not going to war yet because Israel has to draw them out. Remember that. It says the least of the flock shall draw them out. So Israel is going to have to draw them out. I love that word scoundrel. I love that word scoundrel. Isaiah 32:7. Scoundrels are wicked methods. Sorry, scoundrels use. I'm being like you up. Let me say we both just looking over there reading. Scoundrels. Hey, and remember one thing too. Let me say this. Moses was not a man of fair speech either, but the Lord chose him. So don't ever think nothing about your speech or audio or reading. That don't matter. What matters is that the Lord like the inward part. So, I be joking, but that don't mean nothing. Can remember, Moses wasn't a man of fair speech. Remember that. And it makes sense because remember he was raised under Pharaoh's daughter. That's why he wasn't a man of fair speech. But the Lord still chose Moses. So this is Isaiah 32:7. Scoundrels are wicked methods. They make up evil schemes to destroy the poor with lies. Even when the plea of the needy is just. That's beautiful. He told the officers, I have a receipt that still beat him. When they see he had a receipt, they had no choice but to go back to Walmart and say this man stole nothing. But because he did not have the complexion to the connection, you already deemed the man guilty, man. And it was sad because the man was justified. He had a receipt. That man worked hard earned money to pay for that. But that's what they do. Now going back to the thing that's happened in Dallas, Carmelo Anthony, what he do, he stood his ground, right? But now they're trying to make excuses. Why does he have a blade in his backpack? Why couldn't he just leave him alone? Why are you trying to make him get up out of his seat like Rosa Parks? See? They always go back to that tension, that racial tension between Jacob and Esau. But I don't want to put the cat before the horse. let's go back to wars and rumors of wars. But that's in the title. Stand your ground is in the title. So George Zimmerman stood his ground, right? What's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse. Everybody said they stood their ground. Carmelo Anthony stands his ground. Now it's a problem, right? What they say? Yes, yes for me, but no to thee. Come on, man. That's racial bias. That's called racial bias. Go ahead up. You want to talk about this?
Matthew 24:6 again. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all things that must come to pass. All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Why is the end not yet? Because you have to, the MOTB has to be implemented. Everything has to fall into place. Can you give me Matthew? Already get Matthew. Give me Matthew 5, and I think it's 18. If I'm not mistaken. Matthew 5 and 18. All things must be fulfilled, man. Everything. There's no different thing. Hey, you got to eat everything on your plate. You want dessert? You're not only gonna eat your chicken. You're not only gonna eat your mashed potatoes or your mac and cheese. You better eat them green beans. You better eat that damn broccoli. You better eat that asparagus. You gotta eat everything off the plate to get a well balanced diet. You know. Same thing with the scriptures, man. Everything must be fulfilled. We must consume everything. Matter of fact, when you're dealing with the Bible, remember the angel told him to eat the book. People want to only eat portions of the Bible. I don't want to consume portions of the Bible. No, you got to take the sweet with the bitter. All right, and you know sour. Those bitter herbs are good for your body too. But y'all don't want to take the bitter herbs, right? Go ahead, up.
Matthew 5:18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or a little shall in no wise pass from the law.
Right. So from the law, so there's also prophecies in the law as well. Like what is it? Deuteronomy 30:27, the Lord said, all these curses shall fall upon thy enemy. That's another prophecy that has to be fulfilled, yeah? Right? So all things must be fulfilled. Okay.
To all be fulfilled. Verse 19, Matthew 5:19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men, so he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Right. So if you tell someone to break one of these commandments, you should be called least in the kingdom of heaven. You're gonna rule, but you're gonna be at the bottom of Israel. But you're gonna be above all the nations. In other words, this the Lord said, if you love me, feed my sheep. That was a commandment. If you love me, keep my commandment. That was a commandment, right? So feeding the sheep also mean that you got to go out and feed your sheep. So you got individuals like Bishop Nathaniel and General Yohana IUIC. Oh, I'm sorry. Bishop Nathaniel IUIC, you got General Yohana ISUPK. They don't go out, but they send their henchmen out and they preach the word. The elders of Great Millstone still going out. What? Who would not want to serve a general that does not have battlefield experience? If I'm going with a general that has battlefield experience, that means that 9 times out of 10, that general is more than likely to go into battle with me. King David did that. King David used to always go into battle until his old age. At one point, King David almost died, and they said, "King David, man, we love you, but sit your ass down." You know what I'm saying? And that's a great general, right? The elders of Great Millstone are prime example. They make great example. That's why the scripture says, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. By this, the elders have obtained a good report." The elders have obtained a good report. Why? Because the scripture says, you say you have faith without works, I'm going to show you my faith by my works. And those men's works have constantly been on display since their inception into this truth from what I know, from what I've seen. So people can talk, they talk all they want, but the results always going to show who's been putting in the work behind the scenes, man. Right? It's always what you do off the court, off the field, that's going to resemble who you are when you're in that ring, when you're on that field, when you're on that court. And that's what sets you apart from everybody else. People like to cut corners, like to do gimmicks, be snake oil salesmen, but they don't want to go through the rigmarole. It's like they want to be a disciple, a follower of the Messiah, right? But they don't want to bear that cross.
They want the rhythm and they want the blues.
They want the rhythm, but they don't want the blues. Thank you, brother. Thank you. They want the rhythm, but they don't want the blues. But remember, it says humility comes before honor. But everybody wants to be honored and don't know what humility is like. Like some of the best leaders in the world had come from humble beginnings. King David was a keeper of the sheep, then became king of all of Israel. But how many people you think would have looked down on somebody who was a keeper of the sheep or shepherd? Like that's like it's been going on since the inception of man. They always look at the exterior of someone rather than look at the interior, and which is why the Lord looks at everybody differently because He's the Lord is spiritual. He's the Father of spirits, right? So when we look at everything, we look at everything spiritually. You have to. There's nowhere in the world I can look at that dude and say he right. How? Like if I see Justin Timberlake right now, I wouldn't call Justin Timberlake a white boy. Because I already know ain't nowhere in the world you can make that kind of music and not have that essence. Then you kind of find out, oh, his father's Sicilian. Makes sense, right? Oh, no wonder why Justin Timberlake made that kind of music. His father's Sicilian, but he don't look like that. You know, he's like a Caucasian boy, like Cameron Diaz. Blonde hair, blue eye. Father's Cuban, darker than me. So you can't say this person's this and that. That's why it's spiritual. That would make some people. Anyhow, Salaki.
They continue Matthew 5:19. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. That's finishing that verse.
Can you give me 1 Corinthians 4 and I think it's 9? I remember I had said the Lord gave the world everything. What I mean by that, I mean like you had what do you call it? Gave you Islam. First, no, matter of fact, no, wait a minute. But you had Christianity from Constantinople. You had Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Confucius spirit, the Baramatma. You know, you have the way of the Shaolin Temple. You know, you have voodoo. You have all these. The Lord gave you all these different types of religions, all these different types of ways of life, right? But who did He set up last, though? Who did He set up last? Go ahead.
First Corinthians 4:9. For I think that Yahawah have set forth us, the apostles,
So
last.
think about it. This is kind of like you play. It's like you play a horse with your little cousin. You say, listen here. Do all the moves you want. Do all the moves you want. I'm still gonna beat you. So the Lord, like y'all can bring out all the beliefs you want, all the religions you want. At the end of the day, my word gonna stand alone. That's why when you go to Isaiah 34:16, it says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord. None of these shall fail." You talking about words that were written thousands of years ago, happening today? Nah, I don't believe that. But then again, who the hell can predict putting something in your right hand, your forehead when you can't buy? So who would have thought that? And then who in the hell back in the day said somebody shot an arrow from one end of the earth to another? It's like who the hell saw that back in the day? It never happened. So they're talking about a future event, but they ain't had no missiles back then. Right. So, but back then they know that an arrow was a projectile. So they saw something in the form of an arrow shot from one end of the earth to another. Oh, damn, we got those today. But back then they didn't know what they were. That's why it's called parables, man. Go ahead.
As they were appointed to death, for we are made of spectacles.
First Corinthians 4:9. For I think that God has set forth us the apostles last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world and to angels and to men. He set us up last. Why? Because we are sent forth to be what? A living sacrifice unto the people. But we're a spectacle unto men and we're a spectacle unto angels. Like Paul say, all eyes are on me. I say we, not me. All eyes are on me. That's what's happening right now, man. All eyes is on Israel. The Israelites, I mean, say all eyes on the Israelites. But it's not based upon who we are. It's really based upon what we're saying. Because if what we're saying is true, everything we said about who we are, follows as well. And that's what's really frightening these people, man. All right, everything that's happening in the world, people really think Trump's doing this, people's doing that. They really think that mankind is no man, the Lord control all of this. I saw an Edomite lady on YouTube, not on YouTube. She had an article. She said, I think she said God controls nature and the sun controls weather. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get up out of here. And she's a politician, blonde hair, blue eyed politician. She said God controls nature and the sun controls weather. I'm like, huh. Well, I'll be damned. You know? Keep on up, verse
10.
yeah.
1 Corinthians 4 and 10. We are fools of Mashiach's sake, but you are wise, and in Mashiach we are weak, but you are strong. You are honorable, but we are despised.
Why are we fools for YAHAWASHI sake? By the foolishness of preaching to save those that believe. That's why the Lord has set us up last. He sent us out last. The Lord said, I sent my messengers unto you bedtime and you mock my messengers. The Lord say, no mas, no more. All right? Right now we at the end, and the Lord's going to bring forth his judgment. And there's nothing Esau can do about it. Hey, these churches today, done for. Marvin Sapp, shut the doors. We need 40,000 right now. And guess what DJ Trump did? He endorsed them. You know what he said? Now that's a man that knows how to get his money. Come on, man, it's a joke. Then another article came out today. They break dancing in church and shit. Come on, y'all. And guess what? You know what's so ironic about that? They had that same scene in that movie with the Wayans brothers. Don't drink your juice while driving down South Central. Remember the old ladies was in the church dancing, and then they had them on the ground doing windmills and head spins and all that shit. They're doing it for real today. They don't need mockery of that. And it's getting so bad in church, they gotta come up with theatrics, man.
Only MC Hammer in church.
Because the only reason the only reason why y'all people really going to church, because it's for entertainment. Y'all ain't there for the Lord. You there to be seen. The Lord, it feels good.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
Be motivated.
Yeah, that's what it is, you know. But we're out here, but you know what? We're the doom and gloom prophets, as they say. We're only preparing you for what's to come. They're not. And you're going to want answers from them. And you've been giving them your money all them years. When the elders be like, hey, whatever thing of the school you went to, you need to go get your money back and give it to us. They really need that because these people are being lied to all their lives, man. Your church has a 501c3 charter, meaning that they got a gag on them, certain things they can and cannot say. But hey, like the Lord said, like I say in the scriptures, 1 Corinthians 4:9. For I think that God, Yahweh, have set up us, the apostles, last as we're appointed to death. It's not something to be taken lightly. Because we're talking treason. We're talking about, you know, death and destruction. Not as if we're going to be the ones doing it, but we're saying the same book that your precious president get inaugurated on says that the same individuals and people are going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. Nothing you can do about it. A flash flood come, nothing you can do about it. An earthquake comes, nothing you can do about it. A hurricane comes, nothing you can do about it. Volcanic eruption comes, nothing you can do about it. It's like the Lord got to show them catastrophic events for them to realize, do you forget that you're human? It takes some catastrophe for it to happen. Or it takes something that's too late for it to happen. But once again, like a dog to his vomit, you go right back to their father. Like the Lord say, why must you be stricken anymore? You're just gonna revolt more and more.
And the judgment near you.
And then the judgment near you. But the Lord gonna bring the judgment like to a theater near you. Alright, so with that, really all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, CashApp. Double honor to our elders, that great MILESTONE who will sing us to the elect. Look at you. Look at you. Get in here. Get in here. Double honor to the elders, that great MILESTONE sing us to the elect. Peace and blessings to the world. And to the gift of the world. Shalom.